What's up, everybody? Today when I was at work, I was talking with a customer about survival horror games and what our favorite ones were, what console had the most release for it, and I was telling about the YouTube channel and how I did a series based on horror games on different consoles, and then I was realizing that I don't think I ever did a PS3 one, and when I came home I checked, and obviously I didn't do one because that's why I'm doing this video now. I realized also that when I was pulling together games for this video, I don't really have a lot on the PS3 in the horror genre. A lot of the ones that came out on both PS3 and 360, it seems I got most of them on the 360, so there's only a handful that are going to be in this video, but I will go into maybe a little bit more detail about each one. So, let's get started. We're going to start with Siren Blood Curse. Now, this came out as a physical copy only in Japan and PAL territories. It did release in America, but only as a download, and they had it where you can purchase, episodes, or you could get all of them together in one package. This game was a reimagining of the first Siren. It's pretty damn freaky. It has a feature called sight jacking in it, and what that means is you can look through, the enemy's eyes and see where they're at. So say you're hiding, upstairs, and the enemy is downstairs, well, you can look through their eyes and see them sort of wandering around, and it gets really freaky if they get, near you, and you know they're, right outside a damn door, and they're basically staring at the door, waiting for you. And just overall, everything about the game was pretty damn well done for a horror game. It's probably one of the few that kind of kept me on edge multiple times and for a long period of time, just waiting for that goddamn enemy to, move or leave so I could sneak by him. Now this game, if you want to purchase a physical copy to play here in America, you can get it on eBay for around 30 or 40 bucks. So it's a little pricey, I guess, for a used PS3 title, but it is definitely worth it. I would definitely say check this out if you want a scary survival horror game. Next we have Alone in the Dark Inferno. This originally released on the 360, and there were versions of it on the PS2 and the Wii, but those versions were very different, and they were actually developed by a different company. Everything from, obviously, the graphics to gameplay elements and level designs were very far off from the 360 and the PS3 version. Now, this one was based on the 360 version, and when that came out, it got fairly negative reviews. A lot of people seemed to not enjoy the combat system or the controls of the character or the driving sequences. This, though, was released to basically fix those from the 360 version, and it did a pretty good job. I originally played the 360 version and beat it, and I enjoyed the game. The company that made it, Eden Games, they tried to put a lot of different elements and new things into Alone in the Dark, and they didn't really polish any of them, basically. You could make your own, items in the game. It had some, platforming elements. Just a lot of unique things for a horror title. Some of the improvements they added to the PS3 version had to do with the camera. You now had full control over it. At the end of the 360 version, there was a section where you had to do a lot of backtracking in order to complete the tasks. Well, in the PS3 version, they basically added some of those tasks earlier into the game, so you didn't have to wait to the very end to complete them all, which helped with the backtracking problem. Also, they added a new gameplay scenario in the PS3 version as well. It's not a perfect title still, but if you want to see some unique elements added into a horror game that aren't in a Resident Evil or Silent Hill, it's definitely worth giving a try. Speaking of Resident Evil, we have Resident Evil 5 Gold Edition, super shiny. This was released after Resident Evil 5 came out. This has the downloadable content on it, mainly the Lost in Nightmares and Desperate Escape episodes. Now, the PS3 version actually has those episodes and the downloadable content on disc. The 360 version did not. They were on a little card that you entered the code in on Xbox Live. So, me being a collector, I bought the PS3 version. Even though Resident Evil 4 added a lot of new elements into the series, I think 5 took it a step farther, adding the jump-in, jump-out co-op element. Also, it added daylight in the majority of the game for the first time in the series. Now, even though, to me, it definitely has lost some of the horror elements, they're still scary games. It's still pretty intense when you have a bunch of creatures or monsters on top of you all at once, or when one does pop out of a window, because it still happens, just not as frequently. Now, with 6, I think they did sort of a better job in balancing out, like, okay, you have some dark, times, you have some daylight times, and it wasn't so much of a dramatic, like, oh my god, we're out in the daytime and it's all action-oriented. So I almost think if they did 6 before 5, maybe it would have, been a little bit easier of a transition for people, but regardless, I still enjoyed, part 5 and 6. Next is Dead Space 2. This is the limited edition. I bought the PS3 version because it includes Dead Space Extraction, which was originally a Wii exclusive. On the PS3, it's in HD, and you can use the Move controls with it. I enjoyed Dead Space 2, but I do like the first game the most. It was a little bit more predictable when enemies were going to sort of jump out at certain parts, especially like if it was a large room you walked into, you could almost guarantee that there were going to be a lot of enemies coming out of vents or something. And I've mentioned that in multiple different videos in the past talking about Dead Space 2. I am still looking forward to Dead Space 3 coming out, even though it seems like they are doing a little bit of like Resident Evil 5 and 6, on us with adding the other player character multiplayer to it. So we'll see how that turns out, but I would still put Part 2 as one of like the top 5 scariest games that's come out at least in the last 5 years. That's basically it for the horror games I own on the PS3, but I do want to throw in Yakuza Dead Souls real quick, because it is a zombie game even though it's not really scary. Now, some die-hard fans of the Yakuza series didn't really enjoy this, apparently, because they felt, oh, they're just trying to cash in and throw some zombies in a Yakuza game, but it is pretty fun. It's actually funny to see all the different, like, things they borrowed from other horror games or zombie titles, even down to, like, zombie character models. Looks like some were taken from Left 4 Dead. But if you like games like maybe like Dead Rising, you might want to give this one a try. That's it for this episode, guys. The next time I do one of these horror game videos, it'll probably be the remaining games I have, like, on all systems, because we're down to, like, maybe I own 1 title in the genre on this one console and 2 on this other one. Not enough to do just, 1 video based on that 1 console. So it'll be like a random horror games video, but who knows when that will be. Hopefully not as long as it took me to do this one, but you never know. I will talk to you guys later. Peace.